Hi, this is Reality Supreme Being, otherwise known as HRM Cesar Saint Augustine de Buonaparte, Emperor of the United States of Pangaea, which used to be called United States of America before it was overthrown in October of 1996. Now, I've done about 23, 24 videos, and I sound sometimes like there have been responses from people to be friends and all that. What's the use in being friends if you can't form a coalition, if you can't fight back? These people that are running this country and the world, the Bilderbergs, the Masons, the Illuminati, all the conspiracy theories, it's not a conspiracy. These people, it's like a private club, and it's a rich club, rich for the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the rich elite of Europe, and the rich elite of America. But which is, a long story. Anyway, there have been like half responses, good and bad. But the YouTube is a way to pull anger out of people and have them put it on YouTube. Once they pull the anger out of you, it's real important. Once they pull the anger, this is a psychological effect I'm talking about. Once they pull the anger out of you, they've got you. They have you figured out completely. What they do is they've got you figured out in a way that you put it's like little kids when they're angry at something. They draw something angry, and they've got their anger out, so they no longer think about it. This is how they diffuse revolution psychologically. You don't believe me? Go check all the books out. I'm not trying to convince you. This is the absolute truth. So in all my videos I've explained, and people have said, what are you on? And you talk and blah, 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 and you're ranting and raving. There's only one reason that logical, intelligent people rant and rave. They rant and rave because their civil rights have been violated, and the United States government wants that to happen. For instance, let's for a second, I'll go along with this. I've had quite a few people go, oh, you're nuts, you're this, and I've heard of these things, And one of my tapes, I made some racial comments on purpose. And I mentioned that sticks and stones may break your bones. It's an old Mother Goose rhyme, but words should never hurt you. But that applies only to adults. Kids are more sensitive, so you really should be careful what you're saying to kids. But when you're an adult, you should be really strong about that. You shouldn't have to worry. But, you see, the government wants to control people like me. Once you start exhibiting very super intelligence, they get scared. They go cower. They really do. Maybe not subconsciously, they have the police, handcuffs, jails to protect them. They can launch a psychological attack against all kinds of people, even though these people may turn society into a better place to live. But this is what they do. And you won't believe this until you go on the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission. You start finding out all the stuff that I've tried to tell you in the videos. Now, let's assume that these people are right, that I'm nuts, that I'm like, oh, I'm wacky, I'm like crazy, okay? Let's assume that for a second. Do you know that 99% of the things that go on in the news, even the crazy stuff, is so that people will get the attention of the media? I have a tape of all these past presidents who were interviewed, and then one of Nixon's advisors, who's in publicity field, said, oh, sometimes, I think the show was run by 60 Minutes or CBS, and Eric Severai at the time was the one who was doing the show. It was funny how they said that all presidents mirror image each other in this interview, this 1-hour program. But when Nixon was interviewed, one of his advisors was interviewed, and they said, sometimes we would take a whole day in the Oval Office trying to find a dramatic twist, they use that word. A dramatic turn that would get the attention of that audience. Jimmy Carter brought up the fact that he stayed silent during one of his, fireside chats with the people of the United States. And he went silent for a whole minute because the media was allegedly playing games with him. So he went silent, and people were knocking on the TV sets on the top and everything, seeing what was wrong with the TV. But he did it on purpose so he'd get their attention. But you see, this is exactly the point I'm making. And now it's gotten really heavy everywhere. It's gotten to the point to where people will kill, maim, destroy. The government wants people like this to go lose it completely so that they look better. They look fantastic. They need more police. They need more laws. You already got enough laws. What the heck's wrong with you people? Every time I talk about everyone rebelling against the government and not paying taxes. I did that last year, the year before that. You know what the government's done to me? They've taken my cars, my boats, my motorhomes. Everybody's called me crazy. So, all right, so listen to this. Get ready. I hope you're sitting down, because you're going to investigate this, and you're going to find out I'm telling you the truth. That everything I've said in the last 5 minutes is true, 100%. Even George Carlin said it once. The government owns you. You don't have any freedom. So here it is. State, federal, and local. So figure this out. If I'm crazy, and if I'm supposedly retarded, let's say that I am, and I have a disability, and it's terrible, and I rant and rave, and I go off the deep end. Well, what made me do this? But let's say that there is something wrong with me. If there's something wrong with me, then I'm disabled. Is this how a free country treats disabled people? Is that what this is about? The same country that put radioactive isotopes, Meg Greenfield, the Rights for Time magazine, back in 1996 or 98, wrote an article about in the 50s, radioactive isotopes were put into the breakfast food of retarded children so they could see what happens to them. Oh yeah, go check it out. Oh no. And there's more. My Lai, Wounded Knee, I could go, the list goes on. 5,500 years of recorded history, and the whole world has only less than 300 years of peace worldwide. Just in all the different places, not all in the same place. 5 years here, 1 year there, in all these different countries. The rest of the time, you were killing, maiming, destroying men, women, and children. Is that a civilized society? Is that the kind of society you want to grow up in and let jerks like Obama, who's a puppet for the Bilderberg puppet? Every president is a Bilderberg puppet. When they get scared enough of me, you will hear on the news that I was shot or I was killed finally, because they can't control me. The media is the biggest culprit. They are bought and paid for by the Bilderberg, the Trilateral Commission, the rich money interest. You think Randolph Hearst controlled the media? Look at the past. Let's look at the historic record. Quite a few years ago, DuPont, one of the DuPonts, shot an Olympic wrestler. It was on the news for 2 days, hot and heavy news. After the second day, DuPont, at the highest levels with the Bilderberg and whoever, put the note out. It's like a secret inter-office memo. They said, kill it. Kill the story. And from that point on, nothing was on the news. Now you figure that out. A man lost his life because this DuPont shot this man. It doesn't matter what the reasons were. He has the police to call. He can run from a situation. The point I'm making is that I have been victimized for 30 years, the last 10 years being the worst. They have made me homeless. They have taken all of my possessions, my cars, my boats, my trailers. They've taken all of my, what I call labor equity, the fruits of my labor. I don't have anything to show for it because the city of Los Angeles and the county takes things from people. They pull people over for the most ridiculous reasons and impound their cars, their trucks, their boats. They even have laws in LA. It's called abatement. They can come onto your property and take your property off of there, giving you a 10-day notice that if you don't register it or house it in a garage, they can come and take it, and you can't do anything about it. And the police will be there to make sure you can't do anything about it. So you figure, with violence, threatening you with physical, stopping you from doing anything. So you figure, because that was already done to me many times. So what am I? I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. But if I am disabled, how embarrassing is this for CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, BBC, and every news agency in the world to treat a disabled person like this? Remember the old woman that crossed the street too slow a few years ago? She's walking across the street. She made headline news all around the world because the cop gave her a ticket because she didn't cross the street fast enough. Now you figure that out. No light on a bicycle? Oh, get this. No light on a bicycle? You not only get a ticket, even if you get it written off here in California by the CHP, guess what happens? You still have to pay $10 court processing fee. What is that? You have an evil empire here, and you're not doing anything about it, and you get what you deserve. You want to be sheep and hauled off to the slaughter, to concentration camps and whatever? That's exactly what the government can do. They can do that anytime they want with the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. But you tell me, if you stop paying taxes tomorrow and you sent an email to every congressman and senator and you told them, you go jump in the lake, I'm not going to go give you nothing anymore, including the corporations, everybody said, screw you, you're not getting one penny. Do you know how long the Iraq war would go on and the Afghanistan thing? It would die immediately. If it didn't die immediately, then they're getting their money from somewhere else. And actually, that's a way to prove that the US dollar is worth nothing. Because if they continue the war, even though everybody doesn't pay their taxes, then the government is put in a compromised situation. They either have to explain to the people why and how are you continuing to do this war and paying the soldiers when we've stopped paying our taxes. Because 75% of your dollars, tax dollars, goes to killing innocent men, women, and children in other countries. So when you stop doing that, you effectively are controlling, now you're putting in power we the people. Then you have to look for better leaders, of course, leaders that aren't bought and paid for by the media, the Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg, whoever else, it doesn't matter. These people will continue to control you. They will continue to control you until you get nothing. That's what this is all about. And people like me, yeah, they're continuing to attack me. You know, no place to go. You know, they forced me to get storages. I had buses, boats, and trailers. I was supposed to move to Colorado to 40 acres with all of my stuff. I spent 30 years, well, actually I spent 10 years collecting all of it on the third try, and they took it all away from me in less than 7 years. And that's from both public and private institutions. So all these problems happened, and they didn't have to happen. So what do we do about it? What do you want to do about it? Nothing. That's what you want to do about it. The media, you'll never see me on the media. You know why? Because they'd be too embarrassed to decide how to present the story. Is Caesar crazy? If he is, or if he's that means he's disabled. If he's disabled, we've been treating a disabled senior citizen like this for more than 30 years, the last 10 years being the worst. We've taken all of his possessions. We've violated, I don't know, countless civil rights of his. God knows how many other people there are in the United States who've had the same thing done to them, if not worse. So you think about it. You think about it hard and good, because no one that is in any power, not Donald Trump, not anybody in the Trilateral Commission, the Rockefellers, no one's going to hand me a $1 billion check and say, hey, sorry, we know you invented an oil spill-proof tanker back in 1979. We ignored you because what? A piss poor reason they ignored me. They want those oil spills in the ocean because my design would have stopped oil spills. Then a few years later, I came up with a water recycling system that would have saved a lot of our groundwater. I came up with ideas on how to make safer nuclear plants to keep them from meltdown. Even if a meltdown occurs, you still have an automatic watering system to douse it so that it won't spread radioactive isotopes into the atmosphere. No, you know, enough is enough. These people are evil. There's nothing, any good they do is undone by the evil they do. With any good they do with their right hand is undone by what they do secretly with their left hand. Any good they do with their left hand is undone by what they do with their right hand secretly. It's not going to work. And right now you have poor people robbing poor people because they don't want to take the chance of getting arrested robbing Bank of America, you know, or some bigger institution. No, they'll go after siphoning gas out of U-Haul trucks. They'll go after all this stuff is happening because you people, the government, Obama, the Bilderberg, the Congress of the United States, the state Senate in California, and in every state, all 50 state senates in all 50 states, you all evil. You out of control. You don't have any brains there's not one brain among any of you. And, you know, it's not going to stay together very much longer. If a natural disaster doesn't take out this country, something else will. And this is the truth. We're now at 14 minutes and 43 seconds. So I got 15 seconds to end this particular program, like if it's going to do me any good. Will it get on the evening news? Nah, I don't think so. Nobody cares. So good night, and look for part 2 of this particular video.